This meeting is being recorded.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jocelyn Perez. I'm a licensed marriage family therapist at California Baptist University. This group therapy session is for domestic violence survivors or for those experienced domestic violence. I just want you to know ahead of time that everything here is confidential, and if everybody would be respectful enough to keep everything confidential as well. And if at any point, if you guys can just leave your things on mute unless you guys are speaking, I hope that's okay, just to be courteous for others. I don't know at this time who is going through domestic violence, so at any time or any point, if someone is in danger or if someone is caught in the moment of doing the session, if everybody can just log off, because sometimes, we don't know what can happen with someone that may be on here. I don't know who, but just to be on the safe side. As well, I am a mandated reporter, and if anybody hurts anyone or is in a situation where they're not safe as well, I do have to report it. I hope that is completely understandable, and I appreciate whatever you guys have to share with us in this group session. And so I'm going to go ahead and start off with something super quick, as an alternative that you guys can have. So I went ahead and I put together a little tiny PowerPoint.
Sorry, Jocelyn, we can't hear you. Or I don't know if it's just me. I think you're muted.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, are you guys able to see the screen that I'm sharing with you?
Yeah.
Okay, so right here is a hotline that you guys can call. Okay, you can text, start, and then or call that phone number. And then since this is a Riverside location, you guys have this. I will also provide the link for the website. This is for Riverside, for the crisis line. It's also 24 hours. And then this is also safe houses that you guys can go to as well. The phone numbers and the place of the name is also there. It helps with emergency services, legal and financial assistance services, consulting, housing, supportive services, children's services, and community educational services. So just a little bit of everything. And I don't want to just focus on this because I'm sure a lot of you have a lot to share. And I can't wait to hear everyone. So I do just want to point out, people that have gone through domestic violence or have also are going through it at this moment or even are past it. There's depressive symptoms as well as post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms as well. And this is just great to go over to, I don't know if any of you guys are going through that, but yes. And I just want you guys to know that there's safe words that can also be used, like you're calling in for pizza or something, or apps. I will be more than happy to send more resources for you guys. But I'm going to go ahead and go to each one of you guys to get your name and what brings you to the group session and what your current situation is. Whoever's ready.
I can start. So my name is Brenda. And the reason why I chose to seek therapy was because in the past I've been in a domestic violence situation with one of my previous partners. I actually I experienced a lot of physical, emotional abuse from this person. And I got to the point where I couldn't take it anymore. Not only was it, harming me in every way, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, um, it was just very hard to like detach from him because, at times that you still love that person, but then they harm you so much. And even me leaving was just a huge step. And just kind of acknowledging that I'm in a domestic violent relationship. Um, and it was very overwhelming and very painful to leave and come here.
Thank you so much for sharing. I really appreciate that, Brenda. How are you feeling right now at this moment?
Um, Somewhat relieved, but I'm still hurt. There's still a lot of pain. Just because there's a part of you that still is in love with this person and another part that, knows that you shouldn't be there, that you need to, have more self-love and then leave and then seek help and then do what's best for you. So I'm just in very conflicting emotions and feelings right now.
I completely understand. And I thank you for being so brave and vulnerable with us to let us know how you feel. Thank you.
I can go next if that's okay.
Of course.
My name is Karina, and I wasn't, I guess, directly a victim of domestic violence. I did see it a lot growing up. I would see my mom get beat a lot by my dad. I was removed from that situation when I was pretty little, but I think it's something that I still carry with me and affects a lot of what I do now. So it's really hard for me to keep relationships, even if it's um, it not even romantic relationships. It's just any type of relationship I struggle with, just because I saw how much my mom suffered, and even after all of the abuse and after we were removed from that house, we were in a safe space. We were very lucky to have all the resources. One of them being Jocelyn, the program that you mentioned, which is SAFE. They were able to have us in a just safe home away from my dad, which was my mom's abuser. Again, I was never, they never hit me. My dad never hit me, but I did witness a lot of it since I can remember, up to the point where they removed my family from the home. So I I've never really talked about it. So this is really the first time in 20 years that I've opened up about it. So I'm really I think a big step for me was just coming to this first meeting and just hearing the previous person talk about their experience already makes me feel a little bit more comfortable, because a lot of people, a lot of my friends come from a very a typical, good family. So it's very hard for me to kind of talk about my past. So yeah, thank you guys for listening.
No, I thank you, Karina, and it is a big step, because I'm assuming, I don't know if I'm correct, and tell me if I'm not saying it correctly. It's feelings that you haven't faced that has been there. And I'm pretty sure you feel good speaking about it, correct? And I know you mentioned that. And it is hard, especially witnessing, your loved ones being in that situation in front of you, because I'm sure you probably did feel helpless, like, what can I do? But couldn't do much. But I appreciate how vulnerable as well you have been, and I thank you for taking that first step to be honest and share this with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Nicole. I was in a previous abusive relationship where it wasn't a whole lot of physical abuse, but it was a lot of I guess intimidation and verbal abuse. and then a little bit of physical abuse. But I think the biggest issue for me was that he was the sole breadwinner, so I wasn't working. And because of that, he had like that control over me. And so I think it frightened me to even have the courage to know where to start to be able to leave and get out of that situation. Especially since I grew up, seeing people in like relationships around me, in domestic violent relationship as well. It was just kind of normal that for me to kind of, I guess, go through it. There wasn't really, a voice of reason or an out for me to find. And so I'm here today to just kind of figure out how to cope with the PTSD of it, and glad I'm here.
No, I'm glad that you came, and I thank you too as well for sharing. When it comes to you having PTSD, are there triggers that often occur that puts you back in the same position?
Yeah, I get fearful at nighttime, like
Mm-hmm.
before I go to sleep. All the windows and doors are locked, but I have like this fear that they'll just come up behind me when my back is turned toward the door or something. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's just so scary. I just get really nervous. So I don't I do have a night light in my room. But a lot of the time I can't go to sleep right away if my back is turned toward the door, because I want to be able to, open my eyes right away first.
Mm-hmm.
Just I get scared if it's too quiet.
Yes, yes, I completely understand. And if you don't mind me asking, and if you don't, I don't know if this is too forward, but what is your current situation right now with your partner?
We do have some communication. I was able to get out, but as I believe it was Karina may have mentioned it. It's difficult to kind of cut off those relationships, with people. It may have been Brenda that said that. When you have those feelings, and also a long history. He was my best friend growing up, and he's just one of the last people you'd think to ever hurt you. And so it's kind of hard to sever that connection. So I'm looking for tools and ways to kind of break that off so I can kind of feel free.
Okay. Well, no, I thank you. I thank you so much for being so vulnerable and sharing that as well. I know that is, I feel bad for asking, but I just want to make sure that you're safe, because PTSD is can be very a struggle with, and having to go through those emotions. And I'm happy that you're here with us today. Thank you.
Mhm.
Hi, so my name is April. I was in a very abusive relationship. It was physical abuse, verbal abuse, and I got out of it luckily. And right now I'm looking into getting into like a new relationship, but I'm fearing falling into all those things that I fell into before. And I just really fear that I'll find somebody and that I'll love them, and then this will happen again just because we were together for so long and the abuse didn't start till late in our relationship. So yeah.
Yeah. How was it? And it was fine in the beginning as well. Thank you for
Yeah, it
sharing as
was,
well.
yeah, everything was fine in the beginning, and then he lost his job, and I think that's when it really all started. And I was the sole provider, and I think maybe that got to him.
Okay. Okay. And how did you feel in that moment? I mean, was it you had mentioned more verbal, mental? At any time did he get more physical with you?
Yeah, it got physical. Yeah, it
Oh,
got
it
very
did. It did.
physical. I was
Okay.
in the hospital. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, are you safe now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. 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 Is there communication that you have to do with that individual?
Yeah, we have a daughter, and so we
Oh,
do
wow.
have to communicate, um, but we try to limit it. Just yeah,
Yeah. How old is your daughter, by the way?
two.
2. That's
Mhm.
Beautiful number. Well, thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Okay. Hi, my name is Desiree. Just a little bit about me. It's so growing up, me and my sister never had like a good relationship. And then once I turned 18, I think she was in a domestic relationship and she didn't really know how to deal with it. So, like the first time it was like physical abuse where she like beat on me when I was asleep. And then afterwards, like after that, I just like ran away for like 2 weeks and then I came back because, you know, it's family and you try to figure it out. But I just had this like reoccur a lot. And right now, it took me a while to realize it was like domestic abuse. And now I'm just like out of the situation, but it's still very like a lot of trauma. And it's like me um kind of accepting that someone would do that to me. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. And you know, I thank you for sharing, you know, and it is hard to go through, you know. How did you transition out of the situation? I know you had run away from time to time, you know, as you mentioned, correct?
Yeah. The transition was just like it feels very like bleak, just like so dark because it's like something you don't want to like go back to, but it's also something like you know that you've grown the most from. But I think most of the things was just like for me like just working, going to school, knowing that you know life does go on and it's not gonna defeat me. So just like the transition is knowing that like there's more in life and like just
Mhm.
knowing that, I guess.
Yes, yes. No, of course. And I thank you for sharing and being so vulnerable as well. I know it's not easy, you know, to speak about things from past, present, or current situation, you
Mhm.
know, and it takes a lot. It takes a lot for someone to come to the platform and say, this is what I went through, or this is what I'm going through. And it is
Yeah.
completely understandable. So thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. So, I know April mentioned you have a daughter, 2 years old, correct? Anybody else have children?
I have one.
That's beautiful. What is it a boy, a girl?
Yeah, it's a boy. He's 9 years old.
Oh wow, he's big.
Mhm.
That's really nice. Thank you for sharing. Yes, but for my situation, I'm going to share a little bit of my background briefly. um, I was very eager to be part of this and creating this group session and this group therapy session only because I could say sometimes it's helpful when somebody has been through it themselves because they are able to touch base with the clients that are also in the group therapy session, right? So, but everyone's different. I witnessed my mother getting beat in front of me by my stepfather. So I did have to go to a safe house. We ended up staying there for a while. And this was in Colorado. And that's when they went ahead and helped us get all the resources we needed. And we moved into the apartment that we needed. And it worked out. Did he come back? Yes. Was it hard for my mother? Yes. But I did the best I could to respect her decision because at that age I did feel helpless as well, you know. So that's kind of a brief background of my own of witnessing, not going through, but witnessing, you know, and I appreciate no matter if, even if you're going through it or you're witnessing it, it's a still valid emotion that it's there, you know, like you went through it yourself in a way, almost, I believe. But um, yeah. So I'm gonna go down the row. I want you guys to tell me what is your deepest fear at this moment.
For me, I think, as I mentioned earlier, it's very tough for me to start a relationship, and I think again it stems from what I witnessed as a child. And I think as I've gotten older, I've learned that although I didn't directly experience that, physical abuse, it was emotional abuse for me. I mean, till this day, it's many, many years later, decades even. Um, I mean, it's still affecting me. So I think the hardest thing for me now is just what I mentioned earlier, which was just staying in a relationship. I'm scared that I'm going to end up the same way as my mom, being with someone who beats me basically. So I think that's one of my biggest fears, and I've tried to. Again, it's the first time where I expressed how I feel, but I've done some of my own research, and I see how there's a lot of it's a cycle, for many of us that are victims of domestic violence. So that's basically my biggest fear, just to end up with someone like my dad.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone?
I think for me, my biggest fear is my daughter getting into a relationship like the one that I had.
Yes. I could see that could be very hard. That is very hard. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
I think for me, it would be just repeating the cycle as well. Just going back to the same thing or not knowing when to leave. Um, but just staying there and allowing a person to continue to hurt me.
Yes. Yes. That it can be hard. Um it really can be hard, because sometimes we want to give individuals the benefit of the doubt, and do the best that we can to acknowledge that things may be different. And I appreciate, you sharing that as well with me. Thank you. And with all of us.
I think I can relate to everyone that has spoken already. I think my fear, though, stems from because like my trust was broken, and so I think I have a fear of healing enough to where I am better again, and then establishing a new trust with someone else, and then the fear of them betraying that trust. Because you become so vulnerable in relationships, and you expose yourself, with all your emotions and feelings that you normally keep inside. And then when you finally let those out, and then someone, hurts you in that way, like with, uses it as a tool to hurt you more, it's just frightening. And so it's scary for me to think that my son could go through that again. And also thinking of, just repeating that cycle, as she mentioned. And so the whole relationship thing, just like Karina said, I almost just don't want to be in relationships just to avoid it. So in all, I have a lot of fears, I guess.
Yes. Yes, and that's completely understandable, and it's going to take time, and that's okay for you to take time, to do what you need to do for yourself, giving yourself that self-care. It's very beneficial for you just to stand your ground, and I thank you. I thank you for that.
I think the hardest thing for me is, I mean, I know you asked like biggest fear,
That's okay.
but
Whatever comes to mind. Thank you. That's okay.
um it's really hard for me to trust someone when when this has happened like in my own family. So I think when I make relationships, whether it be like friends, talking to someone, it's very like blank space for me. Like first, like I want to like have a good time, and not really like think about, you know, like making these relationships just because I don't like to let people in. That
Mhm.
or when I see people let me down, I'm just like there's a door, you know, like I've been through a lot, so I'd rather see someone walk through the door than to have them chase. But I think my ultimate fear is just being like blindsided and just like, you know, fall into something like that, or like for me to have kids and have my kids go through what I went through with my sister.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that's completely valid and understandable as well. As you're mentioning, being blindsided, I think it's important to know what we're getting into, and things are unexpected, but your feelings and your emotions are valid, and I appreciate you sharing that as well. Thank you, Desiree. Yes. And so I was also going to ask you guys, when it comes to emotions, there can still be emotions that are still there that haven't been resolved. Do any of you feel like you are there at that time of
I feel
going
like I
back
still
to,
have, I feel like I
sorry.
just have anger because when you constantly think about it, and that I wouldn't be in the position I'm in now if it wasn't for that. And I had like all these other opportunities that could have came about for me if I wasn't in that situation. And so I think it's a lot of like, regret, and then that just makes me angry.
No, thank you. Yeah. Anger is valid. Correct. You can feel anger, you can feel anxious, you can be emotional. There's so many things that you can feel, and I completely understand why you'd be angry. Thank you.
Mhm.
I think I would have to agree with Nicole on that one. That's the first thing that came to mind was anger. I think, again, being so little, so vulnerable, I wasn't really able to, I would kind of just go hide in my room. And now that I'm older and I think about it, it's just anger, everything that he caused growing up, everything that he caused when I was little. And basically, I can't tell him anything anymore. He passed away a few years ago. So I think just it makes me feel like I wasn't able to express that anger toward
Mhm.
him. So I would have to agree with that one.
Yes. And I apologize, for your loss. That must be hard too. I'm sure, you loved your dad amongst everything. You know, um, Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Um, so one thing that I also wanted to mention is how do you guys deal with how you do self-care, or how do you what is your happy place? What do you do for self-care, and what is your happy place when you need to get out of the bottomless emotions that you wish weren't there?
I've learned to start journaling,
Oh,
because I can take a lot of my thoughts out and put them on paper, and that has helped. So,
journaling, that's very good. You get it all out on paper. Thanks, Nicole.
mhm.
For myself, I usually like to take walks or go on hikes.
Walks or hikes, getting those endorphins. That's great. That's great. And how is it when you do your walking and your hiking? What's the best part of it?
I think that I just let my stress go out into the universe. I'm not in four walls. I just let it go.
You feel free?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's nice. Thank you, April.
I think for me, my happy place at this time is probably just home. That's where I feel safe and that's where I feel at peace.
And that's more than okay. You know, I was also going to ask you, Brenda, have you done anything else? I mean, what are the activities that you do at home at times, if you don't mind me asking?
Honestly, just rest. I'm out like the whole day. I'm up for work early. I leave like at 7. I come back like at 6 and
Mhm.
eat and then rest and then repeat.
Oh, wow.
So I don't even watch Netflix.
Oh, yeah. You know, self-care is so important, Brenda, and it's okay to take a break, but I know sometimes you got to keep going, right? But what's one thing you can say that when you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh yeah. What's one thing that you enjoy the most when you're at home?
Just feeling at peace.
Oh, that
Or
peace.
just yeah, like when I'm out, I don't have peace. I really don't like crowded places. I don't like
Oh,
going to
okay.
the malls. Like I don't really like a lot of, groups of people and just crowds. I don't like that. Sometimes I prefer being at home alone and just, here in my room by myself.
Yeah. And that sounds very peaceful, and and I appreciate you sharing. Thank you so much.
I think I'm at the same place as Brenda. Like, I love being at home and I love being on my, like, in bed. And I sleep a lot. I work a lot. Um, I do play softball on Sundays. Um, but it's more of like Sundays are like kind of like I would say like my party days. Like I'll have like brunch, I'll have drinks. So it's just more of like that's my social time. I wouldn't say and my happy time, but that's more of me like trying to keep within my friends. But other than that, I love my bed and I love being in my bed and sleeping whenever I'm not working.
Yes. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. I can definitely agree also with Desiree and Brenda. My bed is my sanctuary. I'm just at peace. I'll take a nice shower and just lay down and go to sleep, but I appreciate you sharing, Desiree. That's great. I'm happy for you. Thank you. Yes. So I wanted to know, um, what is your guys' goals to get out of this group therapy session?
I think
I'll
for
go.
me,
Oh,
oh, sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. For me, just one of my goals, I think, is just to share my feelings. Like I mentioned earlier, I've never done this with anyone, not even with my family, that we've been through the same thing. So just to be, I guess, in a comfortable place so I can be vulnerable and share as I start to get a little bit more comfortable.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I I think for me it's just for me to heal. I mean, I know a lot of times we want like apologies and like of course I don't want to mend a relationship, but my sister does have kids and I've raised them. So just to heal and just I mean, I believe in God, so just ask God to give me, the healing and everything just to overcome this like situation and just like stop being angry, and also like this group session is to help me like face like this happened, and if you're angry, if you're sad, like I can't run because I since my last altercation I've been running, but
Yeah.
just to face what's going on.
Thank you for your bravery. Thank you so much, Desiree.
I think for me, I have like a lot of loose ends, um, because it's different emotions and they're not really consistent. It just kind of it's all over the place. So I think just ultimately, if I'd like to be overall healed and better and being able to function without a worry, you know.
I completely understand, Nicole. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I think for me it would be somewhat learn how to cope with the feelings and, like coping mechanisms that I can utilize to just get through life and, my feelings and how I feel.
Great. Thank you, Brenda. And, I know that we're in introductions, but we're going to get into coping skills the following week. Today was just introduction, and I'm so sorry that we didn't dive into that just in case you guys would have needed that after this. But I thank you, Brenda, for sharing. Thank you.
So I think for myself, I just want to heal and understand how to not take my past situation into my future.
Yes, completely understandable, April. Yes. Thank you so much. Yes. So, I know we're almost done with the session. I have one more question and then one more statement. I apologize for prolonging. Um, but I did want to ask, what were you able to take away from today, and how do you think you feel after this first session?
So a takeaway that I got is that everything that I've gone through is there's other people that have gone through it too. And so that makes me feel like I can overcome this, like listening to your guys' stories.
Thank you, April.
Jocelyn, I think just listening to your story just made me feel a little bit more hopeful. I know you mentioned you also experienced something similar to me. So I think just listening to stories and just having hope, I think, is what I will take away.
Thank you. Thank you, Karina. Thank you so much.
I think I'm just happy that, that I'm working on myself. This is how I'm going to work on myself.
This is great. Thank you.
I think sometimes when we go through our situation, we assume sometimes that our situation is unique, which normally it is because it's our own personal experience. But it is nice to know that as unique as my own experience is, everyone else's is similar or relatable, I guess you could say, to what I have been through, I guess mentally, and that there's people out there also looking for hope, and that this group would not exist if it was not effective. So I'm grateful for that.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nicole.
I think someone mentioned it already, but what I was able to do is just knowing that there is like, others that are experiencing the same thing, and it somewhat works as a, support system.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you so much, Brenda. I appreciate that. And that's great. I'm very happy that you guys are all here. And I also, since we are here, I wanted to know, and as a group, which day out of the week would work best for you. So we could all come with the day and time.
I
Because I
think
know
the
we,
same day. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think the same day and time work for me.
yeah. How about everyone else?
Yep.
Okay, great. Great. So I wanted to let you guys know in advance. I rushed in the beginning because at sometimes there has been newcomers, and this just started. We had ended this group therapy session 2 months ago, and then we restarted it. But just to be safe, when there's more people coming in, because anybody can come in, I always try to do that really fast intro, just because there's some people that are new to it and don't have those resources. So it's available to them, the ones that are currently going through it. And I hope everybody's okay with that. So that way they're getting the help that they need right away. And if they're not in a safe situation, they know that they can, hang up on Zoom real quick, and, everybody is safe. And so I hope everybody is comfortable with that. And this group therapy session, I believe, is going to be for about 3 months, and it's going to be once a week as well. And I hope I see you all here the following week. I'm going to enjoy having you. So And I appreciate all of the time that you have. I know Nicole, she's actually from Texas, right? So, right, Nicole?
I'm in almost Tennessee, so a few
Okay.
hours out. Mhm.
Yeah, because when you guys signed up, I saw the location. So there can be
Yeah.
people from different states as well,
Yeah.
you know. So yes. And I of course will do and I apologize as well. I need, as for the cities and stuff, for additional information that I did not go ahead and put through, I will also email that to your preference of state and county and city. So that way it's, you know where to go there. But since this one, it was just the Riverside location, and I think you just moved, Nicole. Yes. And I apologize. I just, I hope that was okay if I said that in the
Yeah, no, that's
group
fine.
section. Okay, perfect. And I got everybody's signatures and informed consents as well. So I appreciate that. So I know this is prolonged, everybody's tired. You guys have a wonderful night. If any of you guys have any questions afterwards, please feel free to stay behind. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.